The Nebraska Cornhuskers are one of the premier brands in all of college football, and at one point, they were one of the most dominant programs as well. Unfortunately, over the last few years, the Huskers have really started to fall off. Bo Pelini went 9-3 every season, and Mike Riley could never put it all together. In comes the new savior, Scott Frost. He was a superstar for them back in the late 90s, and when he took the head coaching job after his time at UCF, the sky was seemingly the limit for the Nebraska program. After going 4-8 in his first year, the team showed a lot of flash, had a young, talented quarterback, and many people saw them breaking out to a 10-11 win team in 2019. That did not go as planned, and now going into year 4 under Scott Frost, it looks like it could be his last if he doesn't get things together. 2021 is going to be huge for both Frost and the program, and in today's video, we're going to preview the Huskers, go through their roster, their schedule, their depth chart, and all the major storylines. But right before we get into it, we are now on the road to 100K, and nearly 80% of you guys are not subscribed, so be sure to hit that button, as I really appreciate it. And now let's talk about the harsh truth about Nebraska football. As we always do, let's take a quick glance back to the 2020 season, so you guys understand what the stakes are going into 2021. Last year was year number 3 under head coach Scott Frost, and many people at least expected him to do decent. They were projected to finish at 4th in the Big Ten West, and their first game of the 2020 campaign would come against Ohio State. They ended up getting blown out 52-17, and it was not the start they wanted. From there, they went on the road to Northwestern, where they ended up losing by 1 score, and at the time, it did look like a bad loss, but the Wildcats ended up winning the West. They got their first win of the season at home against Penn State, which was kind of a shocker. Right as they hit a high, they hit another low. They lost 41-23 at home to Illinois, and this was just embarrassing. They then lost to their rival number 24, Iowa, before they would go on the road and beat Purdue. They had 2 wins at this point, and they could at least finish at 4-4 if they won out. But they did not, as they lost to Minnesota, and it was going to be another losing season for Frost. They would finish the year on a high note, though, as they would beat Rutgers on the road, and overall, the Huskers would finish at 3-5. When you take a look at their 2021 recruiting class, it finished 20th in the nation and 5th in the Big Ten. It was headlined by tight end Thomas Fidone and 4 other 4-star recruits. Frost was very active in the transfer portal, as he landed former 5-star recruit coming out of high school Tyreek Johnson from Ohio State, a talented and experienced running back from USC by the name of Marquise Stepp, an FCS superstar and wide receiver Samori Toure from Montana, a linebacker from Northern Iowa, and finally wide receiver Oliver Martin, who first started at Michigan and then went to Iowa. When we take a look at this depth chart, we're first going to start with the quarterback position. Some may call it a strength, others may call it a weakness, as they ended up losing Luke McCaffrey. The starter will 100% be Adrian Martinez, as he showed a ton of flash as a freshman, but has been extremely inconsistent over the last 2 years. He has all the talent in the world to be one of the top QBs in the Big Ten, but we'll have to wait and see how he does, and I think the season will depend on him. From there, they have former 4-star recruit Logan Smothers as his backup, and I think he'll be a nice player in the future. After that, they have 2 walk-ons, then an incoming freshman 3-star recruit by the name of Heinrich Harburg. If Martinez puts it all together, I think the quarterback position will be fine, but if he struggles, I'm a bit concerned. As of right now, there is a logjam at the running back spot, and guys like Marquise Stepp, Ramir Johnson, Marvin Scott, Ronald Tompkins, and Sevion Morrison should all see the field. There are even more guys who I can include, but this will be very fun to see who pans out and who steps up to become that feature guy. Nebraska lost 4 wide receivers to the transfer portal, and the most notable one was Wandale Robinson. He transferred to Kentucky, and he should be the main guy there, and this is a big loss for them. As of right now, the 3 projected starters at the wide receiver spot include Oliver Martin, who as I said transferred in, Samori Toure, who was a big deal at Montana, and finally the main guy who I really like, Omar Manning. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school before he originally went to TCU and the JUCO route, and after missing time last year, he should be the wide receiver 1. Other guys include Alante Brown, Will Nixon, Wyatt Luer, Chris Hickman, and Levi Falk. One more guy I do want to mention is Xavier Betts, who was a big recruit in their 2020 class, and if I had to pick one guy who could break out, I think Betts is a safe bet for that. It's been very difficult finding information for the depth chart, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. At left tackle, you're going to have Turner Corcoran, at left guard, you're going to have Ethan Piper, and at center, you're going to have Cam Jurgens. The other side of the line includes Trent Hickson and Bryce Benhart. The tight end will be Austin Allen, and he's someone who I think can break out. When you move over to the defensive side of the ball, the D-line will have Ben Still, Damian Daniels, and Ty Robinson. The 4 linebackers will be Luke Reimer, Will Honus, Garrett Nelson, and JoJo Doman. And finally, in the secondary, you're going to have Markel Dismuke, Deontay Williams, Cam Taylor-Britt, and Braxton Clark. I also think Tyreek Johnson will play a lot, the Ohio State transfer, but there really is not a guy on this defense who I think is an all Big Ten caliber dude, or someone who can really change the game, which does concern me. What's even more concerning is if they're even going to get the 6 wins, and let's take a look at the schedule and find out if they can do it. As we look ahead to the Nebraska Huskers schedule, they open up in Week 0 against the Illinois Fighting Illini. This game will be in Champaign, and it will be the first game of the Brett Bielema era. I am thankful enough that I will be in attendance to watch this game, and I'm super pumped for that. Now that it's year 4 under Scott Frost, there should be no reason that they lose this game. Yes, Bielema is a decent coach, at least in my eyes, and this game is at home, but Nebraska should be better in every single department, and by this point, they should be able to win, and I think they will. From there, they come home in Week 2 and play against Fordham. If Nebraska loses this game, Frost should be fired leaving the field. Make that 2-0. The same thing can pretty much be said for Buffalo, as they lost Lance Leipold to Kansas, and the Bulls will be in complete rebuild mode. Now, it wouldn't shock me if somehow Nebraska blew this game, but if we're being realistic, I think they are going to win, and they will start out 3-0. At this point, we'll probably see the AP poll makers jump the gun a little bit and rank them number 25 for their matchup against Oklahoma, and after Scott Frost tried to back out of this game for a little while, they made it happen, and it will be on big noon kickoff. I'm as thrilled as you are to see this game at noon, but unfortunately that's just when it has to happen. I think Oklahoma will beat the tar out of Nebraska in this game, as this was an old rivalry, and none of these first 3 games will even have remotely prepared them for this. Maybe they keep it close, maybe they don't. Either way, Oklahoma wins. From there, they'll open up Big Ten play on the road against Michigan State. This is one of those games that's going to determine the season. At this point, they'd be 3-1, and there's a huge difference between 4-1 and 3-2. I think this is about as 50-50 as it gets, as I think there's about a 60% chance Nebraska wins on a neutral site, but because we are in East Lansing, it could go either way. At the end of the day, though, I'm going to go with the experience of Nebraska and say they pull this one out closely on the road. This makes them 4-1 with their matchup against Northwestern, and it is already determined that this game will be at night, so I am pumped for that. The Wildcats have been surprising over the last few years as they've gone to the Big Ten Championship 2 out of the last 3 seasons, and they'll probably do it again this year, but right now I am a doubter of this Northwestern team. And I'm going to say that Nebraska wins this, and they start out 5-1. From there, things get a little bit more challenging as Michigan comes to town. While I'm not super high on the Wolverines this year, I do believe they're good enough to go on the road and win this game. And while I think it could potentially be close, I have no reason to pick Nebraska in this game, so we're going to go at Michigan, and that's Nebraska's second loss. From there, they'll go on the road to Minnesota, and I think this game will be pretty challenging as well. Minnesota returns a ton of starters, and they have a pretty decent environment, plus it'll probably be pretty cold at this point. So in a close game, I think this is going to go the Golden Gophers' way. After that, they'll get a home game against Purdue, and while the last time this game was played in Lincoln, Purdue won, I think it's going to be different this time. As a Purdue fan myself, I don't have a lot of faith in this year's team, and I think Nebraska will win this game at home and avoid a 3-game losing streak. That'll get them to 6 wins, and the rest of their schedule does not get much easier. They play Ohio State at home, and 2 years ago, this was supposedly the biggest matchup in the Big Ten. As we saw, Ohio State absolutely murdered them in Lincoln when College Game Day came there in 2019, and I don't think it'll be that much different this year. Give the win to Ohio State. Next, they go on the road to play against Wisconsin, and they are the best team in the Big Ten West, so maybe Nebraska hangs around for a couple quarters, but at the end of the day, I'm going with Wisconsin. The final game that could go either way is this Iowa matchup. At this point, the Huskers are 6-5 in my eyes, and it's not like they are playing for a bowl game at this point, but it's more so about which bowl game they're in. The Hawkeyes are supposed to be ranked this year, and in my opinion, they are the second best team in the Big Ten West, so I think this game will be very entertaining, and will definitely come down to the end. Last time these two teams played, Iowa hit a game-winning field goal, and I think that's just about how this game will end as well. I want to pick Nebraska, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Iowa, and Nebraska will finish with a 6-6 record. From there, I don't know what bowl game they will go to, but it'll be a big step in Scott Frost's tenure so far, and getting to a bowl game is all Nebraska fans are expecting this year. Will it be enough to keep him around? Yes. If he misses a bowl game, I don't think so. There are really a lot of question marks surrounding this Nebraska team, as maybe this team could go 9-3, or if they blow it against Illinois, Michigan State, and Northwestern, we could see them with a 3-4 win season. Either way, a lot needs to change in Scott Frost in his 4th year at the helm, and just like Nebraska fans, I'm waiting on the edge of my seat to see how this one goes. Adrian Martinez needs to play well, a running back needs to step up, and Omar Manning needs to become a 1,000-yard receiver, and the defense has got to put it all together. The potential is there, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. If you're a Nebraska Cornhuskers football fan, let me know what you agree and disagree with down in the comment section below. Give me your own prediction. Let me know who your favorite player on this team is. And also, if you're a fan of any other team, let me know your thoughts on my prediction and what team I should take a look at next. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, as it really helps with the algorithm. Subscribe if you are new here, as we're on the road to 100K. And check out all my other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.